Well, hello and welcome to the Fairhaven Church Parent Talks podcast, where we desire to equip and empower you as parents to lead well in your home. Today is going to be such a great day. I just believe it to my core because I have Johnny and Lydia here with me. And I get to tell all of you that these two crazy kids are getting married. And so...
I wouldn't say I'm crazy, but...
What you had to say about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. I have actually been trying to figure out the right moment to have both of you on the podcast so I could tell everybody. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about it? Now that it's out there, not the engagement. But.
I mean, I feel great that we're engaged personally, but I feel like a lot of the world has already known that we've been engaged for a while. It's just now
a lot of the kids,
official. Mm-hmm.
Kids know.
Kids know. Now their
kids
parents
ask
know.
me often about Johnny and how he's doing, so
yeah,
they're very excited.
Yeah,
kids really like you, Johnny.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Do you remember the phase of baby Johnny?
No way that we're bringing this into the podcast world. I've been rid of baby Johnny for years, and only high schoolers will come up to me now and be like, "Hey, remember baby Johnny?"
Now
Kids?
you got parents,
And now the parents know.
Now they
So
know.
maybe we'll have to bring baby Johnny back.
We've tried.
It could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Look, here's the thing. Every time that baby Johnny has been brought back to the world of the living, that's all kids will bring up.
Yeah.
I'll be walking somewhere and they're like, "That's baby Johnny." I'm like, I'm Johnny, please stop.
It's hilarious.
Well,
For me. It's funny.
I was about to say, you should try walking in baby Johnny's shoes first and then say it's hilarious.
Okay, don't worry, parents. We'll bring him back. So I will talk him into it eventually. But because we're talking about kids ministry, my question for you guys, I maybe should have given you this ahead of time. But if you think about your experience at kids camp as a child, or I guess as a leader, like what would you say is your favorite activity that you experienced at camp?
Yeah, that would have been a
I
heads
know,
up
I'm
kind
sorry.
of
I
one.
should have given you a heads up.
I am trying to think, and all I can think of is this one day when I was a leader and we did this ice cream bar, and I was eating my lunch, and a kid thought my lunch was part of the ice cream bar, and he just grabbed a handful. I had wings, and he grabbed a handful and put it on his ice cream and walked away.
Are you serious?
You're just
I
eating
am
wings.
serious. I had an eye twitch there because I was that. But my favorite activity is always whenever we did color war, shaving cream war, slime war. Those are always my favorite. Kids just love it. They get messy.
Yeah.
You get to run around with them and get them messy too.
I'm actually really surprised that you said that because they usually like attack you. Like you usually get it the worst.
Well, that's why I'm like, leaders need to get in there because they love playing with their leaders, and they like it's just that like moment where they get to, like, you can connect with them and and they really cherish those moments. So that's why I like it.
That's a fun word. They do cherish those moments. What about you, Lydia?
As a kid, I really enjoyed when we got to like pie leaders and do those kind of activities. Like you were saying, like kids love making you messy and chasing you around. And so I enjoyed that as a kid. And then as a leader, I think it's the activities where they get to be creative and like come up with stuff. That's really fun just to see like all the things they think of.
Yeah. I would have to say mine is probably when they're doing something that's like team building. I usually enjoy seeing them and kind of seeing how they can pull each other into forcing each other to participate. But I think the next thing I would say is, and it's not really an activity, but the worship, at kids camp.
There's always like a different level of energy.
It is. It's so good. I love it so much. So anyway, we're going to start talking about what it is that our kids and students are learning this week. Last week, just as a really, really quick review, we were talking about the Israelites and how they were complaining a lot because, they were hungry, but then they got tired of what it was that God was providing. So God was providing manna from heaven, and so they really struggled with being content with God's provision in that. And so if you want more context or more information about that, definitely go back and check that out from last week. But this week, we're going to see Moses as a humble, obedient leader who needed help, and we're going to discuss the fact that we need community and we need encouragement from other believers. So Johnny, can you walk us through Exodus 17 through 18 and what this lesson is about this week?
So we have like kind of two different stories that we're teaching this week. So Exodus 17, some of you guys might have heard this story, and if not, it's when Moses is standing on top of a mountain and they're fighting a battle, and whenever his arms get tired, they start losing the battle. So then he has they lift up his arm, Aaron and Hur. And so verse 12 of Exodus 17 says this: Moses' arms soon became so tired he could no longer hold them up. So Aaron and Hur found a stone for him to sit on, and they stood on each side of Moses, holding up his hands, so his hands held steady until sunset. As a result, Joshua overwhelmed the army. So I do think it's kind of funny because you're kind of wondering, like, it's okay. It says whenever he dropped his hands. So, like, for a fact, he dropped his hands a few times.
Yeah.
And the people battling down there, that must have been like, oh, please don't drop your hand. I don't want to get speared right now. But so, like, that's one story. He needed the help of Aaron and Hur to, like, keep his arms up. And then we get to chapter 18, and this is Jethro, and he gives him the advice of
Jethro being the father-in-law.
Yeah, the father-in-law. And he says, what are you accomplishing here? Why are you trying to do all of this alone while everyone stands around you from morning till evening? So he's saying this because Moses, he was doing everything for the Israelites. He was, solving all these disputes. He was trying to give them instructions. He was, giving them advice or telling them what God is decreeing, and he's doing all of this, like all the small details, all the big details, and all the Israelites keep coming up to him, and he's running thin. He's doing all of this. And Jethro sees it, and he gives him that advice. And he tells him this, like, he's like, hey, like, find a bunch of honest men of integrity who, you can put over all these different things, that you can have them, solve all these minor things, and they'll come to you with the big things. They'll give you all of this. He saw that Moses was running thin and said, hey, you need the help of community to keep going strong. And I liked how the Bible says this. They say, like, bring anything big to you, but they will carry the load, making the task easier for you. And so in both of these chapters, we hear these stories of Moses needing help, needing help from community and from everyone around him to carry the load of, leading the Israelites and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's good. So Lydia, as he's talking, I mean, we've learned that godly community helps us defeat the enemy, and also that godly community helps us to keep going. So explain the truth behind that and the importance of community, not just to us, but to our families.
Yeah, so we can see in the story how community helped Moses, and how today that same is true for us. We need godly community to surround us, to support us, encourage us, pray for us, and point us towards Christ and truth, and just to defeat the lies of the enemy, and just to remind us of God's love for us. And it's important for a family to have community and not just their own community. Personally, I remember growing up, my family had a really good, godly community that was around us through church, and we would go camping together, and it wasn't just like my parents' friends, like it was our friends as a family, and we just grew up together. And I remember seeing the importance of it when one of the parents got sick and eventually passed away, and I remember, like, it was something that as a whole family we came to support them. Us kids came together, and the adults, and we all prayed together and worshiped, and you could just see, like, that was the point of community, to support each other in those hard times and to remind us of Christ and just his love. And so I think that's why it's, like, most important as a family to have that community, not just parents, not just kids, but something as a family together. You have people surrounding you and supporting you.
Yeah, for sure. And, in Exodus, actually, chapter 18, the second part of verse 22 stood out to me when I was rereading. It says, so it will be easier for you, and they will bear the burden with you. And that's exactly what you're talking about, right? That community that comes alongside you to bear that burden with you. And we know that when they're bearing it with us, it actually makes it easier for us to carry. And so obviously the community is so important. And I love that picture with Moses and just what they're going through, the Israelite people. And yet God brought people around him to support him, to care for him, and to help them defeat the army that was in battle against them. It's really cool. So Johnny, what about you? Has there been a time in your life when you needed your friends or your community to lift you up?
I think of college. So the first year of college, I went out of state into a community that I knew no one. Well, I knew a few people, but they were older. They were established.
Hold on, pause, time out. First of all, I just want to point out that you two ended up going to the same college.
We did.
So you grew up together at Fairhaven.
Yeah.
Went to the same college.
Yeah.
And just finally, in the last 6 months, ish, started dating and are gamered. I just want to throw that out there because you were like, I went to college and
it's about like 20 years.
Like,
she wasn't there when I
she
first
wasn't there yet, but she did get there.
She did get there eventually. But when I showed up, I didn't really know that many people, and the people that I did know, they already established a community and felt like I was forcing my way in. So I had a really hard time. And I think of I would show up to my dorm after classes. I would get dressed, go to work. I worked at a pizzeria. So I know how to make a good pizza every once in a while. But side tangent, I would come home from work to the dorm, and I'll just sit there, play video games, go to bed, rinse and repeat. And I didn't form a good community till halfway through my first year. And I played video games with friends from back home and all this stuff. So I had community. It was just not community that I could really reach into and really dive and have them come around and support me in a way that, helped a lot. And slowly but surely, my RA forced me into the dorm and helped me to get connected. And all those guys, I can think of so many different instances where they were speaking into me, or when I was wandering astray, they would guide me back to the right path, or all these different moments that they really just spoke into me and helped me grow in a lot more than I would have if I was just working at a pizza place and playing video games by myself. So it was a great community, and they always continued to invest in me in ways that I really appreciated, and I'm very thankful for. So that's what I think of when I'm thinking of community. It's they came around me, carried the load of what I was burdening, and made life easier.
Yeah, I think that's a great segue into something that I wanted to have a little bit of a conversation about, because you're talking about this sense that you had that somehow you had community because you were engaging with people through video games, right? And as parents, we are in this battle where our kids who are, I'd say elementary and, teenagers are assuming or thinking that their community is happening when they are playing video games, or when they're on social media, or when they're, interacting with people, but not in person. And so I just wanted to talk for a second about that, because I think it's really important that we as parents are helping our kids to find intentional community. And so that makes me actually think that it's not just our kids, it's our college students, it's us as parents as well. But what do you guys think? What is a way that parents can help their kids in this battle, or how can they help themselves in this battle? Because we know that godly community is so important.
I thought you were going to go first. I'll go first. I mean, to be honest, I think there's a lot. Social media is a good tool. There's good ways to connect, and there's good ways to continue with relationships. But there's also a lot of social media nowadays that's just about pushing content out. They're not you watch all these influencers or all these different people, and they're not really your friends. They're just pushing content out, trying to, get their stuff out there. And the hard part we got to remember is how are we helping our kids or our teens or our friends see that this is a tool and not something that should be consuming our attention, consuming our time constantly. I found that I was go home and I'll look at shorts all the time, and I deleted Instagram. And next thing I know, I'm watching YouTube shorts. There's always another thing, and it's just trying to manage. Hey, am I allocating my time wisely to this? Is this something that's growing me? Is this something that I'm utilizing as a tool, or is this something that's consuming my time and not giving me much? And I think managing, helping your kids to navigate. I want to say, as a parent, find what age you want your kids to get online, make sure you research it and all that stuff. But when they do, I would, just be hey, make sure you're watching over that and helping them to navigate it in a way that they're not allowing it to consume their time, for one, but also helping them navigate it in a way that it's a healthy thing and doesn't become like an obsession or doesn't be, overtake them in a way.
Yeah.
So just making sure that they have a community that can come around them, for one, but also that, they're using it as a tool and not.
Yeah. I think that's great. Yeah. What about you, Lydia? You have
I
any
would
advice?
say, I think social media has changed a lot, even from when like I started using it, because I feel like Instagram came out when I was in middle school, and of course, like I immediately downloaded it, but like had no idea what it was, and just like how it's changed from like catching up with your friends to like doom scrolling on reels and stuff. And so I'd say like for parents, just like be aware and be part of it. Like if your kid is like, my parents did the thing where whatever social media I had, they had, and they were the first people to follow me. And so
I was friends with Lydia's dad on Snapchat.
it's true.
Oh my goodness. Just avoid Snapchat. That's my rule.
Yeah.
I think it's like definitely praying for godly wisdom too, and what it is that God wants you to do with your kids in social media. I mean, my husband and I, we had to kind of, I'd say, battle this out a little bit, have ongoing conversations, because I'm more of a like, no, like don't ever introduce it ever at any point. And he might be a little more wise than I am. And so he's, thinking, well, we don't want our kids to have social media access like once they're outside of the house, having had no training at all.
Yeah.
And so then, for us and our family, we made a decision that once they were 16, we were going to allow them to start using social media, but with a lot of limits. And so I think having like time constraints and different things on it has been helpful in limiting what social media they're even allowed to have. But also with the Christian community around social media, I know for my daughter, there was one time she told me, and she probably won't be happy that I'm sharing this story, but one of her friends actually was like, hey, like, I've noticed you've been on social media a lot the past couple of days. Like, you're liking a lot of content, and like, I'm seeing you're active on there. And it helped her to go like, oh my goodness, like I am on there too much. And, that was before we had all the parental things set up fully. But I just think like that's a part of that godly Christian community too, is helping or having people come alongside you and help you make those right decisions. And so that's really an important thing. You guys have any last minute words about this? Oh, nothing.
Social media is just like, there's so much of
tricky.
it. And I don't, like, I feel like there's so many different forms that I'm not even totally caught up on.
Yeah.
There's
It's changing all the time.
Yeah.
So as parents, you have to be super engaged.
Yeah, I also feel like it's very important, especially as a parent, to make sure you're watching it, because you don't never know what kind of content is going to be pushed in front of your kid.
Yep, for sure.
Like there is so much out there, and just making sure just to like manage that and to be over that, not just to be like, all right, you have 30 minutes on YouTube, have fun, and walk away. Like, it's important to like kind of
to know what they're doing and what they're participating in.
Fairhaven Kids Online.
Fairhaven Kids Online. Hey, great plug.
That is a good plug. We do
Check
have a
it out.
YouTube channel
We have
for
great
kids.
content.
Great content. Lots of fun.
So before we go, I just want to mention really quick our kids camp. That's why I asked you guys about your favorite activity or experience at kids camp. So can you guys give a very quick rundown on what's coming up?
Oh, man. Very quick. Okay.
Nose goes. Okay.
We have a lot of fun planned for kids camp, a lot of fun activities. At different campuses, there's different activities, but all lots of fun. So I know there's a slime war here, shaving cream war at Northmont, and water activities. And Johnny, would you like to talk about the theme and the teaching aspect of it?
The theme is all about being strong in the Lord and what that looks like. So we're gonna have 3 different days of teaching, and each us trying to remind kids that our like true strength comes from being the Lord. We're using Ephesians 2:10. So be strong in the Lord and His mighty power, and just reminding kids it's God who strengthens us. It's God who comes around us. So it should be a fun. I don't want to spoil it too much, because we want our kids to have fun and to learn things, but it should be a fun time.
Yeah, it'll be great. So we have. What were you gonna say?
Sign up before deadlines.
Yeah,
And
so we
spots
have
fill up.
Northmont Camp is happening June 10 through 12. Centerville and Beaver Creek are combined at the Centerville campus June 17 through 19. And then at Springboro, we have camp happening June 24th through 26th. And so you're going to want to go on our website or on the app and get registered for those really quickly. I know the deadlines are coming, and we need to have all of you registered. We're so excited for this camp. It's going to be so much fun. It is a great time for you to invite a friend too. And so if you would like to invite a friend, do that for sure. But we're excited about it. So camp is only a few weeks away.
Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining us as we've been talking about the book of Exodus and going through this series. Next week, we're going to continue in Exodus. It's something we're going to be sitting in for a little while longer, so make sure you tune in and join us. We'll see you next week.